Wrecking machine. I'll take it.
Are you sure you're not interested? I was like, don't ask me again.
And it's a bad hair day too.
So she's like, scream for me, and then it's just dead silence.
It was a good risk to take, and it was great.
Boom! I'm gonna try and give you a friend, and then I was like,
I wish you had like a granny mask.
That would be so cool, or like a ghost uniform.
And everybody was like totally freaked out.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Jordan. Hello.
Hello, Mark.
We're in the rat trap, rat race, and there ain't no escape. We're in the rat race. We're in the rat race. The wrong way, till there's nowhere left to turn. Keep pushing me the wrong way, and you never seem to learn. You never learn.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts based here in Seattle, Washington. Thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday, March 11th, 2021. I have limited time, so let's get right to things. My guests today have been flying the flag of British rock and roll for over a decade now. Their new album, Waiting for Good Luck, drops on April 9th via Frontiers Music. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, The Treatment.
You doing?
Hi, guys.
That sure woke us up.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, good, cheers, mate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I really appreciate this.
No worries.
Cool. And it's interesting. When I first saw the press release for the new album was coming out, I actually had to think about it. I was like, why does that name sound so familiar to me? And I saw you guys.
Oh, on the Kiss and Crew tour.
Absolutely. I saw you down at White River Amphitheater. And I remember distinctly talking to my brother about who was that band, because they played like AC/DC type of rock and roll, which we love.
Yeah, that was amazing, that tour.
Yeah, no, that's what's so interesting to me to think that, in 2012 I saw you, and then here we are in 2021 talking about talking about your fifth album. So let's kind of get into it. So Waiting for Good Luck, what can you tell me about the new album? Was it written and recorded during the pandemic, pre-pandemic?
Yeah, so it initially started, so we wasn't even really planning on doing an album. 2020 was meant to be like quite a big year for us, because we had a lot of touring and stuff booked. So in February we started the first day of the touring run, which was a festival show, and that went down amazing. And then a week later, like COVID struck, and all of our shows got cancelled, like within like literally a day.
Yeah, matter of days. We went from a 6-month schedule to nothing.
So we were like, well, what are we going to do? Like we didn't know what to do. So naturally we just started jamming again, because thankfully my dad, who's also our producer and manager, he's got a little studio that we can use, and we were all in a bubble together. So we started jamming, and it kind of picked up really quick. We started to get loads of new material together, which was sounding great. And then within 3 or 4 months, I think it was, the lockdown restrictions kind of eased a little. We managed to get into a studio to record them. So we were kind of lucky in that sense.
All right. So, since like every music band artist that I've talked to, I mean, most of them had big plans for 2020, and then they went out the freaking window. But it sounds like you guys were fortunate that you were already in a bubble. You had access to be on the jam together, and then get to a studio to record everything. How long were you in the studio to record the album?
I went there 4 days. We recorded it all the band stuff. So like the music side of things, we all recorded within 4 days, and then we went and took like with Tom's vocals and stuff, we recorded it in the little studio that my dad runs. But yeah, so we smashed through it quite quick, to be honest. Like, the band was so rehearsed by the time we actually got into the studio. We played it all live, so it was a very like seamless process once we got in there.
Nice. I love the fact that you guys were able to go in there and blow like a live band.
Yeah, I think that was the big difference for this record was that, you know, we'd always noticed that something was missing from our albums, and we weren't quite sure what. And this, because of COVID, you know, I mean, it's been such a horrific time for a lot of people, but we tried, you know, to make the best of it. And what we actually came out with was that we were able to do a live, or like, you know, the actual record the backing tracks live. And that has made such a huge difference. And I think being the kind of missing link in what we really wanted to achieve from our records.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, when I first heard a couple of the songs from the new album, I mean, they just literally like jumped out of the speaker.
Because we were jumping around in the studio, I'll tell you.
And let me change something real quick. Yeah, and I think a lot of it probably has to do with the fact that, again, you were well rehearsed. You got in there, you banged it out in 4 days, at least to get the backing tracks together. And it sounds like a live band, which is a really good representation of what you guys are like live.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I felt we've always felt that was like missing on our records. Like, our previous records have done really, really well, and we're really proud of what we've achieved with them. But going into this record, we wanted to change it up a bit, and we wanted to really, really improve and blow what we've done previously out of the water. So we basically like made steps of like to what we haven't done like in the process, and that was always record live, which we always intended to do. And it was only due to this we managed to get the opportunity, and I don't think we'll ever go back to the previous way of recording now since this record.
I think we set the bar pretty high with Power Crazy, because that was a phenomenal album, and this time we knew we had to do something different. And just having the time, you know, so our producers, Dan's dad, Laurie, and, you know, for him actually having the time to work with us beforehand, before we got to the studio, was a real, you know, it was a game changer in everything, in the way the whole album came together, and being able to just nail those tracks as though it was a live show. I mean, even we say we have 4 days, but that was 4 days to set up and actually pack down and get the sound. So it was really the tracks that were recorded were done in about 2.5 days. If you consider that's a couple of hours per song, it was really, you know, it was a make or break moment. And, you know, you'll hear mistakes all throughout the record, as you do on, you know, some of our favorite early 70s albums, you know, and you hear those small mistakes, but that's what makes them the character in them and the feel behind them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm a product of the 80s. So, and the second band I ever saw live was AC/DC back in 1982. So I love the fact that, you know, in this day and age of, you know, Pro Tools and Auto Tune and everything else that's going on. And I understand Pro Tools, you need it for digital things, but it's like, I want to hear some character. So if there's a little bit of a mistake or some intonation issues on the fretboard, I don't mind that at all. It just makes it more real to me.
Yeah, we just wanted to create a vibe to this record. We wanted that atmosphere of like you're sat there watching us play. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's also, again, why it sounds so freaking live. And now it's great to hear it from both of you that that's how it was.
That's what it was.
And I'm just curious about the title, Waiting for Good Luck. Does that have anything to do with the pandemic?
Yeah, we found it was a really suiting title. You know what I mean? It's like everyone in like, you know, I mean, the last year has been living in such uncertainty. We are ready for a bit of good news and a bit of good luck. You know what I mean? And we want to just get on with our lives now.
Yeah.
And we've all got so much to live for and so much to we want to prove and achieve as individuals. We just want to get through it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people have felt in the same position as we have this past year.
I think it was as well. I mean, the first title we were messing around with, we were going to call it Lockdown. Yeah. And then after a while, we actually kind of realized, God, this is dragging on a lot longer than what we thought it was going to be.
I didn't want to give people a reminder.
And towards the end, you know, when the title Waiting for Good Luck kind of came around, it just really felt so relevant to us that, you know, we've strived for such a long time to just get to that next level. And I feel like with this record, we've done that. we've really achieved something incredible. And sometimes you sit back and you hear it. I mean, you always think your records are amazing, but with this one, we sat back and it was like, this is something special. There's a chemistry that was found and created there that I think, you know, we've really been lucky to find.
I think we would have only created that through, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
through having our backs against the walls,
if it hadn't been
with COVID
and
having to dig a bit deeper, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think this whole, you know, past year for everybody around the world has been kind of once you've processed what's going on, it's like, so what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
And some people are going to kind of keep moving forward and carry on, and other people are going to just kind of do whatever they need to do just to kind of survive. And sometimes it's a bit of both. But it's great that when you guys were done recording this, that you knew you had something special. Because sometimes you might be recording something like, yeah, it feels good, but it's maybe not quite what we wanted. So then you have to go back and tweak it later, or maybe postpone the release. But it's kind of like, no, I think we nailed this one, and we're ready to.
Because it was the first time as well we've ever recorded on like an analog desk. So like, even after listening back to the first couple of takes that we did, there was just we just knew that there's something in this record. You know what I mean? This that we've never captured before.
Well, I remember that the moment we set up in Rockfield, and so, you know, we've been playing live for, you know, a good few months together and getting the songs tight, and we went in and we knew we had 4 days, so it was like, it really was a make or break. And kind of when we started playing and you hear it through the headphones, and we're sitting there thinking, oh my days, what have we done here? This is a massive mistake. And I remember once we had started, because Take It or Leave It, I think, was the first song that we started with, and we went back out in the control room, and then when you heard it back, just the rawness of that, it just blew our minds. And we knew from that moment, song one, that was the right decision. And honestly, we didn't look back from there. Like I said, it was 3 or 4 hours per song, and it was just literally day and night, boom, boom, boom. You know, Rockfield is still a functioning farm, so it's not like you can go down the boozer there or anything. You're stuck there to record, and that's all you're going to be doing.
It's definitely a studio that separates the men from the boys as well, because you make a mistake in there, you ain't going to get away with it.
Oh, there were people getting slapped left, right, and centre. If you dropped a note during one of those sessions, mate.
Wow, so it sounds very unforgiving as a studio.
Yeah, but that's you know, brought the best out of us.
Yeah, no, again, like you guys were saying, it's kind of make or break it, backs against the wall, and then it sounds like doesn't sound like you actually did. You rose to the occasion. Clearly, I've heard the results, so and a lot of people have heard it too, so we know about that. And I see that question came in through the chat. They're asking about if you guys happen to have a preference between Bon Scott or Brian for AC/DC records.
For me, it's always been Bon. Always.
It's always been Bon.
I love Back in Black, but other than that, it's odd tracks. You know what I mean? I think with Brian, Back in Black is like a masterpiece, but for me, it was always individual songs after that. Yeah, I think. Whereas all the Bon era, I love from start to finish.
Back in Black is a masterpiece of an album, and you can understand why they broke from that and just became this, you know, mega band they are now. But it's the character, I think, for us that we love about Bon and that early DC. You know, sometimes they may not be their most commercially viable songs, but for us, they're by far our favorite. I mean, if I have to put on an album, it's Power Rage. That's my dark. When I'm in a dark place, put that album on, and mate, you're happy again within 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I love every Bon record, and even back when I was in 6th grade, totally dating myself. I just remember playing the cassette to Let There Be Rock all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some tuning problems with that record. High Voltage has some things where it goes a little flat at times.
Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. When you hear those guitars in the intro, I mean, mate, we'd be embarrassed if we went out and did something like that live. But how does that work? You know, it makes that record.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, it brings a character and, you know, it's a personality to the records, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
No.
So Queen, thank you for that question that came in. And hi, Steve. Good to see you joining us from YouTube as well. And I got to get better at these comment things when they come in. Sometimes I'm like,
very multitasking, dude. I like it.
Cool. And so, was there actually any plan to? Because I know some of the artists I've talked to, because of the state of things around the world, that some of them just said they weren't sure they wanted to put out new music during this time. They were going to kind of wait. Other ones said, "Fuck it, we're just going to do it." Did you guys have any kind of discussion about that?
There was a little bit of that feeling, but once we got it, we were like, you know what, all people have got is music, and we were like, you know what I mean, if this record helps people get through this period, it's fine by us. You know what I mean? It was an amazing experience doing this record, and you know what I mean, we're just happy for people to listen to what we've created.
Yeah, well, and that for someone like myself, I love that decision because now I have something to blast out of my stereo.
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of take me away for an hour and a half or so, and then do it all over again. And I one other thing I was curious about, since you guys sounds like you're kind of from the same school as me in terms of loving analog, loving things really real, live, no bullshit. Did you have a real input into the song selection in terms of the order? Because I love how albums start and how they finish.
Yeah, a lot like it was like half us and heavily influenced with my dad who produces it as well, with how the songs were ordered. But to be honest, it's like it feels so long since we've heard the record. Like
it's going to be a new record for us.
It's going to be like it's going to be like it's going to be like us listening to it for the first time, because it's like you do the record, you become massively attached to it, and then it goes away to the label, and then you don't hear it for like nearly a year until it's all been packaged and released. You know what I mean? So we can't wait for the release date as much as everyone else.
Nice. And let's see, I've seen someone said "Right On," or should I say "Ride On," one of my favorites. Okay, nice, Steve. I see what you did there with the AC/DC track. And so you've put out 2 videos. The first one was for Rat Race, and the second one just came out like a week ago. Excuse me, for Wrong Way. Were those shot at the same time? What can you tell me?
Yeah, both. Due to COVID, we didn't know what the deal would be, if we'd have a chance to do another video. So we thought, you know what, we'll just slightly change them up and we'll film both the videos in the same shoot. And it's like what AC/DC did during the Highway to Hell era. Like if you want blood and touch too much, and that, they were all done in the same shoot. So if it was good enough for them, it was good enough for us.
There's no rule book at the moment, you know what I mean? Every band's just trying to do whatever they can. And I think we were thrown in a little bit at the deep end, because we've got a new guy, Andy Milburn, on bass as well. And that was like, I think the second or third time we'd met him. He'd been in the band, you know what I mean? And so it was a real, it was a hard thing to get together to be able to even all get us in one place to film a video. But we knew we had to get a video out for the singles. And we fell on a bit of luck, because KK Steel Mill let us use the stage there, and so we just had a day. And for us, it was actually kind of like playing a gig again, feeling that raw energy of, even though it was just a video, of like actually being back on stage. And it was a mega day, and I'm so glad we got to do it.
Nice, yeah, and clearly, like if you go to YouTube and you watch Rat Race, you'll see how many. I mean, there's like thousands and thousands of likes on it, and maybe like a couple of ding dongs. There's always a couple of ding dongs that do that. That doesn't matter what those ding dongs are up to, but clearly people are enjoying this.
Yeah, definitely. It's been very, very well received so far. The likes just keep going up and up. So
I think everything from the moment the artwork came out, because we weren't 100% sure how people were going to kind of receive it. And people love that from the start, and then every single bit of the album we've released since has just been such an incredible response from everyone. So it's been a mega amazement to us.
Yeah, well, again, it's like it sounded like you guys knew in the studio that you're onto something special. Now it's out there to the public in video form and audio form, and not the full album yet. And it's resonating with people for sure.
Yeah, that definitely is.
And for me personally, I think your style of music is so needed right now because of this pandemic that we've been in for the last year, that people want something that's just like a punch to the gut and just makes you feel good. And you just want to just go,
definitely.
Yeah, well, we're a band about good times, just going out and having a good rock and roll show. There's no politics to us. There's no hidden meanings. It's the treatment is the treatment, and you know exactly what you're getting when you're going to listen to us.
Yeah, and that sounds like another band that I know very well that we've been talking about.
Can't think where we got that
from. Well, that's a great model to follow for sure. Good grief. And I see another question came in from Queen asking about maybe you can ask them what they think is their best record to hear for a new listener, since the new one isn't out yet.
I'd definitely say Power Crate. If you want to know what the band is like in this, because we've had so many different.
We've got a rich tapestry of history, haven't we?
We've got from the era that you would have seen us in for the Kiss tour. That was the This Might Hurt, Running with the Dogs era. So the first 2 records, and we've got Generation Me, which was with a different singer, which is slightly different to what we've done past and previous. And but yeah, I'd definitely say our strongest album to date, other than the new one, is Power Crazy to check out.
I think put on Bite Back on the last record, and then you'll know what the treatment's about. And if you don't like that, then probably don't bother listening to anything else. And if you do like that, then you've got a whole wealth of albums to go check out, and you'll enjoy.
Work your way backwards is the best suggestion.
There you go. So Queen, once you're done with this interview, then you can go check out that album and check out that song specifically, and then see if it's resonating with you or not. I have a feeling it's going to resonate with you. So, and I'm curious. So for you guys over there in the UK, and I know that I've been seeing some stuff on your socials about some festivals that are being booked for the summer. Is it looking likely like that's
So with government guidelines at the moment, they reckon if all the vaccines go to plan and people follow the guidelines of what's set out and like social distancing and stuff, we're looking like we should be restriction free by July. So fingers crossed we'll be able to start gigging from then. But it's still a bit of a grey area. So we're hoping it will go ahead, but it's like a 50-50%.
Yeah, I think we had a great weekend. We've announced a load of headline shows. We're taking it with a pinch of salt, and we're the optimists that just go, yeah, man, it'll work out. And we're just hoping for the best because, I think people need a bit of music in their life now.
They do. And I mean, my fingers are crossed and my toes and anything else.
And I'm crossing my ears at the moment.
I know anytime I see that there's live music anywhere, I'm just hoping, because it just tells me that eventually here in Seattle, we'll get live music too then at some point. It's universal. Everybody wants to see this stuff come back, in the worst way.
Yeah.
For sure. And since you guys have been around, like I said in the introduction, over a decade now, what kind of memories jump out? I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff off the top of your head that you think about over, since 2008.
Yeah, I mean, we've all grown up together. Like when me and Tag started, we were like 14 and 15 years old. You know what I mean? And since then, we've seen the world. You know what I mean? So it's kind of mad that we took it from a bedroom or a garage, even like. Back in the early days, we used to Tag used to come down on weekends because he had school, and we had a tent set up in the bottom of our garden, which he'd sleep in, and we'd rehearse in our garage and stuff. And I mean, it's weird to think from where we started to going out on tour with Motley Crue and Kiss. It's kind of an unbelievable journey, you know what I mean? And it's been we've had masses of ups and downs along the way, but I think. It's kind of molded us as people, you know what I mean, and it's definitely toughened us up to the world from the ups and downs.
This time as well has just really taught us how important the band is to us,
and as well, overly you just start to realise that overall, the glitz and glamour and people telling you you're great, it's all about the music at the end of the day, and all that's irrelevant because it's we've had it countless of times when people have bigged up the band, and then something's happened, and then they've they're not interested, and then the band starts to rise again, and then they come back. You know what I mean? But all that aside, all we've realised as we've grown up that the music is what's important, and the fans, and then that's all we care about, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said. I mean, at the end of the day, well, one, you guys have to please yourselves with your music. And then, but two, if it's resonating with the fans, the rest of it's just white noise after a while.
And as long as your fans are there, everything else is irrelevant. As long as you've got the people that believe in the band and that like the music and they follow you to the bitter end, you know what I mean, you're always going to be able to be a band.
Yeah, I think as well for us, it's just, having that real close-knit of friends. And the guys in the band, I mean, me and Dan go back such a long way, and growing up together and still being here together is incredible. That means so much, and the music along with it. That's all we really care about.
Yeah.
We're we're not showboaty kind of people. We just want to be out, whether it's in the back of a van, sleeping on the floor somewhere. Because we've slept rough, man. We've had it on times on tour when we haven't even had enough to have hotels, and it's just you sleep in the back of a van. And then we've had it, when we came to the US, we were in a tour bus, living the high life. It doesn't matter for us because all that matters is just being on the road and playing shows.
Again, that resonates with me. The bands that had the same mentality that you guys have, are the bands that I grew up with, and to them, it's all about the music.
Roughing it and toughing it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Those stories about doing gigs on the weekend in the back of a van, and they're sleeping in there, or maybe if a fan had some space on their floor and let them stay overnight, kind of a deal. And there's still lots of those bands now.
Our first tour with Alice Cooper, there was 9 of us all sleeping in the van. It was savage. Like we drove from Cambridge to Rome
in one hit,
in one go, and all slept in a van like overnight. Mental.
And that'll also tell you how much do you love this, because it'll separate the men from the boys real quick when you're on the road.
It's never been about the money or fame for us. It's literally been purely about the music. And if the other 2 things come along, then great. But at the end of the day,
I have a bigger guitar collection. But apart from that,
but at the end of the day, nothing's going to change with us. Whether we become the biggest band in the world or we stay at club level. We do it for the music and the enjoyment and the buzz we get when we release a record and play it to an audience.
Awesome. And guys, I know I've got limited time, so for everyone out there, April 9th is when the new album drops from Frontiers Music. Thank you so much for taking the time. I wish you every success with the record. You guys can get out there on the road and play some freaking live shows.
Yeah, man, we can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good night over there.
Man, we'll do this again. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.